right, welcome everybody. Call to order our workshop Tuesday, November 19th, 2024, 5 p.m. Declaration of a quorum, 6 members present. Thank y'all for being here. 1 absent. Item C, hearing of citizens. We don't have any for the workshop. And then item D, D1, review November 5th, 2024, election results and related timelines.
Yes, sir. We swore in Dr. Darren Payne via Zoom on November 13th, which had been last Wednesday. He is halfway across the world right now serving. And so we got him sworn in. And then our other new board member to the team will be Ms. Kristen Wilson. Her swearing in will be part of the regular board meeting at 7.
All right, that'll bring us to item 2, the 23-24 bond updates. Mr. Simak and Mr. Buckner.
President Horak, members of the board, thank you so much for your time this evening. We appreciate the opportunity to give you a little bit of an update on the 2023-2024 bond package as it stands currently. We have hit the ground running, and we have multiple projects going, as you're going to see here this evening. We do have some renderings to show you and some conceptual designs. I will tell you that some things are subject to change. So hopefully you don't get your heart too set on anything tonight because it could potentially change. But currently, projects that we have going on, we'll obviously talk about the bond projects. You know that we've got the high school expansions, Rock Prairie Elementary, CTE Phase 2, our middle school fields, which are currently underway as we speak, baseball, softball, our D zones, stadium improvements, and deferred maintenance. And so we'll talk to you about what we've got going with all of these this evening. Right now, bond projects and phase, you'll notice a check mark next to every single thing on that list with the exception of central office. If you recall, the bond language with central office said an existing building. It's not that we haven't attempted to find an existing building in College Station. There's just not very many buildings that are going to be able to accommodate what we need or that people are willing to sell. And so that's where we are currently. And I will tell you, this is a lot, and you're going to see tonight a lot has taken place, and a lot of this is able to happen right now. We're squeezing all of this in as quickly as possible because time is money in this process, and we're able to do that because of the team that we have. Miss Wilson, with her experience from Canyon ISD, Mr. Buckner with his experience from just north of us, has been truly beneficial. Melissa Fleming and the VLK architect team has been great to work with, and so there's a lot of hats that are involved in this, and there really is a lot that is taking place currently. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Buckner to talk to you about A&M Consolidated.
So one of the high school projects we have going is A&M Consolidated High School. It is additions and renovations to the high school. If you recall, earlier this summer, it was approved for Duratec Construction to be the construction manager at risk for this project. Construction, we're looking at starting spring of 2025 with an estimated completion right now of the summer of 2026 prior to kids coming back in August. Additional square footage. Because it's a 2-story addition, we have a little under 32,000 square foot on the first floor and a little over 29,000 on the second floor. And these will consist of science labs, special services, classrooms, weight room, film room. We're looking at cheer space, black box theater, and phase 4 of renovations for A&M Consolidated High School. And some renderings that we have so far, this was projected to be like the new auditorium entrance. Of course, these are kind of close to what will be the actual renderings of this project. We are actually in construction documents. We just had our 75% review not too long ago. Northwest corner of it, and it is tying into the existing location, the existing brick, existing aesthetics of A&M Consolidated as it is now. And this addition is on the bus loop, so it will encroach into that bus loop area that is there now, right by the freshman gym and that kind of stuff. A rendering of the interior lobby. As you come in, you can see auditorium that is there on the right down that hallway, and the gymnasium is on the left with just making the school a little more modern, brighter, and welcoming in that new area as you're going into the gym or the auditorium.
So we're well on our way at College Station High School as well. We've had that 75% meeting, and so we are moving pretty quickly there. And you'll see, if you recall, Jamala was our contract manager at risk for this project. Again, this project will also start in the spring of 2025. Estimated completion is December of 2026. We'll certainly be aggressive with that and try to get done as quickly as possible. With this one, if you've looked at College Station High School, there will be 4 projects going on simultaneously because they are going to add on to the end of each of the wings of College Station High School. And so I'll show you those wings in just a moment, but a little over 100,000 square feet is going to be added. You have CTE classrooms and labs, art classroom, science classrooms, and a third gym. We'll be able to make some AVP improvements to the CTE classroom there on campus. We've got some roof repairs that are pretty heavy duty that are going to be involved with this project. And then we'll be able to address locker room efficiencies. And if you're aware of what's currently going on at College Station High School, all of our varsity level gym sports are not on the gym level. They're not even in locker rooms that have bathrooms currently because the existing building, the way it was built, the locker room space was just too small to house a varsity team. And so volleyball moved downstairs and took over a PE locker room. Lady Cougar basketball took over a storage closet and turned it into a nice locker room. Boys basketball is currently in a great space next to a weight room that was actually a storage shed, and it has no restroom. I don't have to tell you that having no restroom for boys in a basketball locker room is not a good idea because they will go find a restroom no matter how they're clothed. It's fantastic. So with that, we'll add 2 academic wings to the building, and you'll see where it's coming off the existing structure that we have there. So this will be on both sides for the academic wings. This will be your fine arts wing, where we're adding in off of where the current auditorium is there on that end of the building. And then the athletic wing right across from the field house. This is where your current gym entrance is. That'll all be brought down and extended out, and then you'll have your third gym there on the second level with the remainder of the athletic gyms that are there. And so this will bring it equal to the number of gyms that they have at A&M Consolidated High School currently.
So Rock Prairie Elementary is a Jamala Construction was awarded this one as well as College Station High School. This one is going to be a 2-part project with a lot of summer work just because of how it's going to end up with renovation as well as it's going to be an administration addition to that campus. Current administration area will be turned into classrooms. So it was the easiest method around that and the most cost-effective method with doing that. The atriums, we're looking at some other areas. I think initially it was to be closed in. That was going to be extremely expensive and extremely difficult with getting in and around those atriums because they are internal. So we're looking at other methods of sprucing those up and making those a usable space for outdoor learning inside those atriums. This is also including a car rider line that will come in through off of Edelweiss Drive Avenue, but it's come through that retention pond right there and snake around. We're doing what we can to get the drop off and pick up parents, the car riders, off of Welsh Drive as best as possible to help traffic flow in that area. But you can see this will be the new front rendering with right behind the left side of that canopy would be the addition for the administration offices, a new canopy along the front of the school for a larger drop-off space, and a rendering of the cafeteria. These are still kind of subject to change. We just had a meeting last week on the colors, the materials, and everything else for interior design on this. So this is close, but probably will change a little bit. But we want to incorporate all of the school colors into that with it being an elementary school like that.
So CTE Phase 2 is Poe Construction. Estimated start would be sometime this summer, potentially a little bit earlier, but we're going to be conservative with the estimate and say the summer of 2025. A little over a year to maybe complete that, summer of 2026. Total square footage with this property will be 58,474. And there you go, Mr. Buckner. All right. Batteries in your lap. Okay, I'm not going to lean on that table anymore. So total square footage is 58,474 square feet. Programs that we will be adding in at the CTE Phase 2, Ag Mechanics, Animal Science, Auto Tech, Construction, Cosmetology, Multipurpose Arena, and the Vet Tech Lab as long as welding. So this will help us get our kids that are currently going out to Bryan to be served through their CTE program. It will allow us to pull our kids back into College Station ISD Furthermore, with cosmetology, the way it was designed for it to be able to go in at College View, it was a situation where it was not going to be a complete program. We needed 3 different classroom spaces for that. We were only going to be able to offer 2. So therefore, if Mr. Ben decided that he was going to go into cosmetology, he was not going to be a completer. He would not have been able to get all the way through the program because we didn't have the space to build it. It was contingent upon us being able to do something potentially here at central office if we were able to find an existing building and build out. This actually makes it much easier. I'm learning that new construction is a lot more fun than remodeling. And so this actually makes it a lot more convenient, a lot easier to do. And I think it's going to be really beneficial. Our CTE team is very excited about it. Some other things that we'll pick up in this project, we will get a new gate. We get several calls from the sheriffs quite frequently of the gate situation, with gates being left open, us having to go out and check things. Mr. Ross has checked it multiple times. I've been out there numerous times. We'll get a concrete or a paved driveway all the way up to the new CTE Phase 2 center. It'll still be gravel, Caliche Road, past that going to the barn. And then we'll do a little bit to address some things with the current ag barn with a shade awning to protect our livestock there. And so that's a rendering of the gate there on the front of the property. We're very excited about that. It'll be a card reader gate, so people will be able to swipe in and swipe out. We'll have a complete and total record of everybody that's in there and not. And so that'll help us with safety purposes as well. And then here is your CTE Phase 2 center. And so we're very excited for this space. Mr. Ross and Mrs. Clinkscales are both very eager to get this project started. There's a lot of really good things happening with this space, and we're excited for it moving forward.
So a project that is actively under construction right now is the middle school athletic fields. So this is turfing the 3 middle school fields, as well as bleachers and restroom and concessions it's 2 new constructions at Consolidated Middle School and College Station Middle School, and just an expansion at Welborn Middle School. Jacody Construction won this project under competitive civil proposal, and we have started this. The first portion is February 17th, 2025 for substantial completion. That is the turf and the tracks. And then August of 2025 is for the remainder with the bleachers, the restroom facilities, and the concession stands. And right now we are on target to meet both of those dates. The August of 2025 will actually be more than they need. Right now, they are actually trending to be done around June. Bleachers are probably going to be the last thing that gets done. They have the longest lead time on that, but that project is moving quick. The bleachers there, what we're doing is adding capacity to those bleachers. So what we did is we took the 3-year average, the historical average on the number of tickets that are being sold at the games, and we used that to get to our bleacher counts. So we're looking at over a 200 seat increase at all 3 stadiums, with Consolidated Middle School and Welborn getting the most, and then College Station adding just under 230 seats. But that'll take the capacities at Consol and College Station Middle Schools to just under 680, and Welborn will be just under 700. Kind of the disparity with those numbers is they have different bleacher systems. Welborn's bleachers topping out around that was as close as we could get to the 678 to make it look uniform, is that 696 number. And the others will be more of a standard bleacher, and that gets us to that 678 number. This will be what the fields will look like when they are done, with the new CSISD logo with the star in the middle at the 50-yard line, and one of the D zones as turf and the other as track. And then these were photos taken not too long ago. You can see all 3 of the fields are bare. College Station Middle School on the far right, they have already put the liner down. They are in the process of getting all the rock and drainage done on it. And then they will transition to Welborn Middle School, and we have a 3rd crew coming in from the turf subcontractor that will go straight to A&M Consolidated Middle School and catch up. So they're throwing more crews at it than originally anticipated, as they had a job end in another school district. So they are going to relocate them over and speed up the process. Yesterday's rain slowed down a little, but for the most part, Rain should not affect too much of this project because everything's already stabilized and it's just ready for the turf. We're looking at turf getting installed in mid to late December on all three of these projects.
So baseball, softball is one that we really tried and pushed hard on last year after the May bond to see if we could potentially make it happen before this baseball, softball season. And I will tell you that after learning some of the things that we've learned and just going through this process, I'm glad that we didn't push for that. It would have kept our teams off their fields this current fall semester. And we do have some teams that are, we expect some really great things out of this year. So wanted to make sure that we're not taking away that time from them. So currently right now it's been released for bid. We'll be looking for approval for that next month at the board meeting. As soon as the baseball, softball seasons end, we will start these projects. We will be ready to mobilize and we will be ready to hit the ground running and go on these projects as quickly as possible. It's a 4 to 5 month project if everything goes as planned. Certainly we want to trend a little bit lighter on the months, but at the same time, we recognize that there's some factors that you can't control. However, during the summertime, it doesn't seem to rain too much here, so we should be okay there. We will be redoing the bleachers at Consol softball, getting them up to the backstop and giving them, taking away all the blind spots that they have and really providing them with just a much better setup. Also with this project, we will have our D zones for the football stadiums. And so that was helpful for us to have a team mobilized, not just for baseball, softball turf, but also for the D zones. We're hoping that helps us with our price. And then I say on here, the track runway. So one of the things that wasn't considered whenever they decided that they were going to do the D zones is at A&M Consolidated High School, that takes away your pole vault pit potentially, or it makes pole vault and high jump be on the same pit. Could possibly be a situation there. I've seen it before where kids run into each other and collide on tracks. We don't want that. And then at College Station High School, you take away a long and a triple jump pit. And so you get yourself back into a situation where now high jump is on the same D zone as your long and triple jump pit. And so what we're looking to do is to relocate these so that way we can turf the entire D zones and not put our track programs at a disadvantage. And we feel really confident that we'll be able to do that as well. And so one of the things I want to point out to you is, obviously this is the softball fields, and you may have noticed that whenever Mr. Buckner pointed out the middle school fields for you, that it's consistent across the board. It's the alternating turf, it's the logo in the middle of the field. Well, it's consistent here as well. All of our fields will look the same way with the alternating dark turf, light turf with the vertical lines. Softball, because their backstop area is very small, their logos will be dead center field, and it's consistency across the board. What we want to avoid is a situation like we had a few years ago where College Station High School's turf looks one way because somebody went dark turf, light turf, and had a different vision, and then at Consolidated, we paid the exact same amount of money, but somebody didn't have the same vision, and so people are under the assumption that we paid more for one and less for the other, and that is not at all the case. And so we are having a consistent vision with this across the board. Here with softball, you'll see on the right field side, we've got bullpens getting turfed on the left field side as well. We have met with these coaches numerous times. I talked to one of the coaches just before I came to this board meeting today. We have sat down with them, we have walked through this with them. And we understand all their requests. This is actually a really unique project because when we put it out for bid, we have so many different alternates because we are going to try to make sure that we expand this dollar as much as possible. And so baseball, you'll see that the logos here are behind home plate. You can't really see a baseball center field logo from the stands, and so we're going to put them right behind home plate. And you'll see here as well, we're turfing bullpens. All the extra stuff in the outfield has been requested by the baseball coaches. These will be little X marks, and it's for throwdown bases. And so throwdown bases that just stick to the turf, and that way they can set up and they can do fungo, or they can do bunt drills, or they can do interior infield drills out, and they can utilize all parts of their field. And so that was a request of theirs, and that's a real quick, simple fix that we've been able to add to the fields for them. And then stadium improvements.
So the stadium improvements project is field house addition, new press box for Tiger Stadium, some building envelope improvements at Cougar Stadium, as well as some concrete improvements that are over there on the visitor side around baseball, softball as well, where we have some concrete heaving and some issues going on with that concrete. So the construction manager at risk was selected at a previous board meeting. It was Jacody Construction was selected for this one as well. We are in the process of design. So one thing Mr. Simak mentioned earlier was some of these renderings are subject to change. This is where they're really subject to change. We've only seen these renderings one time, and VLK is already in the process of taking some of our comments, suggestions, changes, and everything in that meeting. To follow up to that is scheduled for next week. But we're looking to start construction this summer on the Fieldhouse addition. And then press box, right now we are planning for that to start as soon as the last home game is over. They will move in that next day and start taking out the restroom concessions and current press box and work through the entire spring and summer and have that up and going for the following football season. And then we're also looking at a scoreboard, changing the scoreboards out at both stadiums as well as part of this project, along with bleachers. But these are complete renderings that are that we saw a week or two ago. But this would be the new ticket booth on the home side for between baseball would be able to utilize this as well as football games with a double entry in the arches. And we're looking at putting letterings across the arches at Tiger Stadium or something. We haven't really nailed down that yet, but looking at that. This would be from the field looking at the new press box potentially with the 2 levels of layout with a film deck right behind the ACM that's in the middle. Because this press box, quite a few other stadiums have some type of big graphic on the back wall. Unfortunately, Tiger Stadium, you cannot see the back wall. It points straight to trees and an apartment complex. So looking to utilize what you see here on that right side, that wall of some type of graphic for people as they're walking into the stadium to see the press box. And that would be that side view of that. But this would be completely modernize this press box. Everything has been taken into account with it with sight lines, not to have any unvisible areas of the field, having multi-level coaches boxes in there so that the various offensive coaches and defensive coaches both have the same sight lines from inside their end of the press box. This would be the addition onto the Consol Fieldhouse. It would have, that would be the weight room area right there. This would be the portion of that field house that is facing the football field. So you would have the weight room looking over it with the glass right there on the left. You would have the ACM right there in the middle to tie it all in together with the campus. And this project is also a full renovation of the existing field house, moving over cross country, relocating baseball within the field house, and moving freshman football into the field house. Then for Cougar Stadium, it's all within the same project. This one we don't really have a timeline yet on when to start this project. It could easily go start this summer, or it could just wait until after the season is over for them. It's not as large of a project, so more time and focus has been put on the Consol portion of this project just because of the size discrepancies between the projects on this for both campuses.
And then, as you well know, we had some deferred maintenance out of that last bond package. And so other things that we have going pretty soon, roof projects. Consol will get a complete new roof, full scrape. It already has 2 existing roof structures on the roof. We have a lot of issues right now with that campus, and so we are looking to start that as quickly as possible. We've been working on it since I transitioned into this new role back in February. Mr. Buckner arrived in May, and that has been a nonstop project for us with all of these. But Consol will be a complete new roof starting in the spring of 2025. So if you start to think about all the various things going on at Consolidated, if you're not a big fan of construction or construction traffic, you might want to steer clear for the next 18 months because you're going to have the field house, the stadiums, baseball, softball, the expansion, and a new roof going on all at once. Miss Elder is going to have a great time. Rock Trail Elementary School, on top of the remodel that we'll be doing there, they are due a new roof, and so we're working through that now, but that'll coincide with the project of that being remodeled. Cypress Grove as well needs a complete new roof. And so the plan is to start that one in the spring. That's not as big of a project, so that one should be done by the summer of 2025. Spring Creek Elementary School has leaked since day one, and it has leaked all over the place, and it's been really hard to identify where all that has leaked. But we have figured that out, and it's related to mechanical repairs and how the water runs down off of those lines and gets in through the membrane and into the roof surface and is able to just run the length of the building. And so that building is not yet even 10 years old, and so we will be making some mechanical repairs that will help extend the life of that current roof as it is. And then here at Central Office, we've got some major roof repairs that we need to make. We have some offices that anytime that it rains, it floods. And that's because of the current drainage system, the way it's designed, and how it goes down through some of the columns out in the breezeway. If you've ever been here when it's raining really hard, if you stand next to one of those breezeway columns, you can hear the water running. Well, that doesn't always work exactly like it's supposed to in a building this old. And so we've got some things that we need to do to get that repaired. And so those are 5 major roof projects that will be getting underway very soon. A lot's going to be taking place this next spring. So we got just a few things going on. We've hit the ground running, trying to make sure that we capitalize on the time while we have it, and we want to make sure that we deliver as quickly as possible for our people. So, questions?
Just confirm on the CTE, cosmetology, auto, and welding are programs we don't have on our campus right now, right? So we'll be expanding that offering. Great.
Let me add a little bit to the cosmetology piece. The way it was set up originally, the blueprint was going to be pretty tight, and then the students were need to go to school at College View full-time. And we had some concerns because our programs right now, some are struggling because kids want to stay at their comprehensive high school, but they may like the program. By moving it out to CTE Phase 2, we're able to have more space, so we could actually have a larger cosmetology program versus having roughly 25 students. We think we could easily house 50, so there's more space. And then we're already busing kids from each high school to that facility. Now, instead of having run a bus across town towards A&M, the 2 buses are going CTE back to each high school. So it allows our operations to run a little smoother, and also it allows us to be able to recruit for that program, and programs a little bit better because you can stay at your comprehensive high school and you may be double blocked for a period to go out, but you're still going back, band, athletics, choir, whatever you're wanting to do, you can participate in everything. Kids don't have to choose what they like. They would have the best of both worlds.
My understanding was Brian, at some point in the near future, is going to get full on that auto and welding where we're sending our kids now. So this is good, squeezing out everything. I really appreciate what y'all do with that.
I had one question and then a comment. In regard to Spring Creek, is there any potential warranty kind of claims or anything at this point? Or
So we're working through that as well. There's only 3 years left on the warranty. And so it's an unusual warranty because it's only 12 years. More often than not, they're 20 years is what I've understood and what I've learned and what Mr. Buckner's experienced in his time north of us. And so we are working through that, and we're working with the manufacturer, and so all that is certainly in play. Yes, sir.
good deal. And then in regard to the stadiums, I know lots of other, band, track, so forth, all use the stadiums, and they're going to be aware of the construction. But could y'all, if possible, like the community organizations, and specifically I'm thinking of Special Olympics, for example, that quite often use our stadiums, if y'all could just kind of give them a heads up that, hey, this construction is going to be going on during this time, or it's going to be unavailable. Just, if possible.
Yes, sir.
I know you got a lot on your plate.
No,
But
no, sir. Those things are certainly on our radar. Special Olympics, obviously, we know Randy Daniel very well, and then Coach Simic has not let me forget about Little Olympics either. And so there's no worry of me forgetting anything.
Well, and kind of along those lines, I mean, you heard a lot of is going to be going on at a lot of schools, but particularly a whole lot at Consol, like you mentioned. I mean, what kind of things are you having to do to accommodate the students? Are there so much of that happening while the students are there? I mean, parking, all those types of things? What can they
So-
expect to see different when you're in the middle of construction?
So we certainly still have time for planning, but I'll let Mr. Buckner elaborate on this. But the parking lot, first and foremost, for the expansion of the science classrooms and the weight room and the additional special education classrooms, that is 42 parking spaces, and that is actually one of the worst parking lots that we have in campus. I can't tell you how many times people have backed into each other in that little small parking lot. That's just teachers. That is a teacher parking lot. And so those parking spaces will be accommodated for. People will be able to move out. The most important thing for us is those handicap parking spaces. But one of the reasons why we went with a contract manager at risk for this is because they are the ones that we'll work with them, but they'll be very much responsible for setting up all of our safety fencing and building, whether it be a walk-through tunnel or something to that effect, whatever it takes to make sure that we're keeping our kids safe and out of those active construction zones. The parking won't be an issue. There's enough parking spaces. We have literally physically counted the parking spaces that'll be there and readily available to them. And then obviously, one of the hardest projects at the field house is the fact that it is a constant occupied space. And so we've been in close contact with Coach Schmidt throughout this entire process. Even Coach Pryor at College Station High School, they readily available. We've talked to them numerous times. And so it'll be a great deal of coordination, but what it'll result in is they'll be using one half of the stadium while we're working on the other half of the stadium. And so we'll set up safety barriers and different things like that. It's very similar to what we're doing at our middle school projects right now. There's safety fences up, so our middle schools can continue to use their outside facilities, and we're keeping them away from the fields. And it's worked out smooth so far. Anything to elaborate, Mr. Buckner?
That was one of the criteria for the construction manager's experience with occupied campuses. This is not Duratec's first time doing this. There will be headaches. There will be struggles. People will not get to park as close as they are accustomed to or want to, but there will be a change in how bus pickup and drop off is. But we are working through all of those logistics to make this as seamless as possible and as the least amount of headaches as possible for Miss Elder and that campus, because it is going to be nonstop for the next 18 to 24 months with the various projects going on, the various contractors involved over there. But at the end of it, it'll be worth it at the end of it with all the headaches, some things coming with it with the new addition and on both sides of the street with it. And hopefully some safety improvements with how kids funnel across Welsh Avenue to the parking lots. We are looking at ways to funnel them because evidently the shrubs aren't working. So looking at different measures to get them to the crosswalks instead of just darting across it any which way, and working with the city on some improvements we can make there too. But
Yeah, we actually have some additional parking that we're currently not utilizing. Our band program practices
Yes.
some in the mornings, and so they cone off some of that parking lot. So after school, it's available for them to practice and cars not be there. That's not going to be an option moving forward. Those cones are going to have to go, and just the understanding with Miss Elder and kids that park in that particular lot, by 4 o'clock, those cars are going to have to be gone. And so if you have after-school activities, it's going to be an area you're not going to be able to park in. So there'll be some growing pains with there, but there's a ton of parking there currently that we're not really utilizing that should be very sufficient moving forward.
And like you said, obviously, it's going to be some pain for a couple years almost, but really needed. So it's just what you kind of have to put up with. Yeah, it's just one of the many things you'll have to juggle. And you're obviously juggling a lot.
usually it's the first couple of months and everyone gets used to it.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I've had a couple of parents ask me is, what kind of processes are we going to have in place? Because it's not just the construction that's going on. We're also going to have a lot of construction crews there working while our students are in school. And will there be, a way to keep them not accessing the inner part of our school?
Yes, so we will have, there will be construction fencing up everywhere. Contractors are not allowed to use restroom facilities on our campuses. They will have their own facilities within their gated areas, within their fenced-in areas. They will have policies in place for zero interaction with students, and that is a zero tolerance thing. If we do see that happening, they will be kicked off the job site. Superintendent on the project will be very aware of that. That's not it's not uncommon. There will also be, depending on which portion of the project, where they're actually going to be on the campus, and how that student contractor interaction is. We will do quite a few background checks on contractors and everything. So if they don't meet all the requirements, then we will have background checks done on them so that they will all be checked just like employees of the school district to maintain safety.
These background checks are in addition to the background checks that are performed by their company.
And also, our administrators obviously are going to know the hotspot areas as well as our security officers as well. So that'd be areas that we'll be paying particular attention to.
And we will have representatives on site daily from the school district, from our department, our construction manager, our project inspector, Mr. Buckner, myself. Like we're on job sites quite frequently and in constant communication with our principals.
No, it's an important question. I'm going to bring up two other things. One is to follow up on what Blaine said about the CTE Center, and really, because for years I have said and commented on it, how I've been pleased that we have been able to save taxpayer monies by sharing a facility in Bryant, right? So I think that has been a good thing for us. Obviously, there's some trade-offs. We have to bus people over there. But do we know exactly when we're going to run out of capacity or when Brian really is going to run out of capacity and kick us out of there?
My understanding right now from Kevin Ross is currently on a couple, one if not both of those programs, they're only able to take our kids currently every other year. So right now, every one of our classes do not have that opportunity. And so I would say, and I don't know if Kevin has a timeline, but I think pretty easily within the next 5 or 6 years, our kids may not have any opportunity for that. We also send north over $100,000 per year to use the facility. So it's not free use for us. Besides transportation, it's a pretty good chunk of change. I want to say it's somewhere between $150,000, $175,000 a year. So that's money instead of Kevin having to spend there. He's got those funds that he could utilize to enhance the current programs in College Station.
And hopefully continue to grow some of our partnerships in those programs. I mean, I know we have some important ones there. Because they're not cheap programs either it's not just the buildings, right? It's the equipment as well. And that kind of is on the money side of this, you mentioned it, time is money with these projects. How are we looking? I know it's certainly so many things up in the air, but how are we looking with the overall budget for so many projects out there?
And the other part of that is competition drives the numbers down. And I've mentioned this before. We have several more companies that have not worked with us in the past that know we're open for business. As far as with new leadership and experiences with different companies, I believe we had a roofing opening or pre-bid yesterday with over 30 plus roofers showed up on site. We were hoping for maybe 8 to 10. So word is out that we're open for business, which is great. It helps us to be able to utilize the funds that we promised for our taxpayers and hopefully be able to deliver everything under what we protected or projected budget-wise.
Yeah, there hasn't been a hailstorm in a while, knock on wood again. One more thing, when you brought up Rock Prairie, I just would be remiss if I didn't say I am happy they're keeping the atrium and being able to make it usable. I'm, said many times, also a supporter of some outdoor learning space, so I hope that works out well for them, so it's good.
Big thing, and I appreciate the report. I think this is very exciting for everybody. I think we've gotten a lot of questions from the community. Hey, when's this starting? What's the timelines? This, that. So we appreciate, obviously, the timelines as far as just being what they are, assuming Mother Nature creates the right environment for it. But bigger piece is just using the taxpayers' funds that they approved fiscally, which is what you are doing, and we're jumping on it now, and that's huge because, as y'all reiterated, time is money. Everything gets more expensive. We saw that as we went through these bond proposals and things like that, and all that. So I appreciate y'all jumping on that because that is the bigger piece. And you're exactly right. Real estate's not getting any cheaper. So the central office thing, I mean, it is what it is at this point. So living in College Station, Bryan College Station for that matter, we got a lot of folks coming here. So it's just going to drive up the prices. So it's what it is. But we appreciate everything you are doing because it's exciting. I've been in the construction world, so I know what y'all are going through and what y'all are about to experience. And best of luck is all I'm going to tell you. So there you go. Anything else? All right. Appreciate it, guys. D3, community engagement. Mr. Dunson, wide awake.
All right, we're live. Yes, sir. Mr. Horak, members of the board, I am presenting on behalf of my counterpart, Krista Thompson, who is home sick with sick children and sick herself. But we have been working diligently this semester so far since Krista has been brought on board to develop a community engagement plan and strategy to kind of attack some of the needs of improvement that have been identified in CSISD, to partner with local businesses, engage with our parents and our families in a more intentional way, and really just get our community more informed about what's going on in our schools. We're starting off with a number of things, and I'll listed them here. These have really been Krista's initiatives, and so I'm not going to take a whole lot of credit for this list of things. But since she started in August, she has developed and managed the Community Connection newsletter that goes out monthly. That goes out to all of our parents, all of our staff members, yourselves as board members. And then in August, we also opened up an option for community members who don't have kids in school to subscribe to the newsletter so that we can engage with those interested folks who want to hear more about what's going on. We've also opened it up to specific demographics of people, like folks who sign up to receive a gold card. Those are our 60 plus CSISD citizens who want to come to athletic events for free. We've offered that for some time now, but we want to engage with them more and engage their interest in what they want to learn more about in CSISD other than attending an athletic event for free. And so we have a list of them. And then all of our community partners, like our business leaders, our faith-based organization leaders, we're also gauging their interest, and we want to add them to our email newsletters. And so that's really, again, been a big effort of Krista. Krista's also taken over the management of our Volunteers in Public Schools program, and accepting those applications and then providing those lists to the schools. She's also implemented what we're calling coffee chats. We're really just informal meetings with parents and community members about topics within CSISD. And so these are informational meetings where we have some time to share with them about different topics. We've shared about curriculum and instruction. And then this past week we had a coffee chat on safety and security and mental health. So those have been well attended, and we appreciate the interest of our parents and community members coming to learn more about what's going on in CSISD face to face with some of our district leaders. We also had a community leader lunch and learn earlier this fall with some of our elected officials, folks from the city, the university, business leaders, and faith-based leaders. This was really just a time to connect with them, let them mingle with themselves, and then also hear from Dr. Harkrider about kind of a state of the district where we're at here in College Station ISD in the fall of 2024. And then a couple things I'm going to talk about specifically that have been developed and that are being rolled out currently are these three things at the bottom. An Adopt a School program, a mentor pilot program, and some advertising opportunities. Our advertising opportunities really are going to come in the way of our Community Connection newsletter, with businesses wanting to reach our students and our parents. There are some limitations we have as a public school district to allow for-profit businesses to share promotional information with parents and students for free. We're not going to willingly provide them with free advertising opportunities. We do have opportunities for our nonprofit organizations through our Community Flyers webpage, but for for-profit, we don't really have a system for that at this point. And so we're setting up advertising opportunities in our newsletter, as well as we get a little bit closer to the potential of our video boards being put in our stadiums. There's opportunity for that, and so that would be managed by Krista's office as well. So all of this is coming from the strategic design framework. So goal 4 is kind of the big piece that we're leaning on here, cultivating and strengthening intentional partnerships with local businesses, community organizations, and higher education agencies. And so really what that looks like right now is Krista is seldom in the office when she is well, because she is at local businesses. She's meeting with local nonprofit organizations and churches to make a connection and begin a relationship with a lot of them that have expressed interest or have been involved in the past but maybe fell off a little bit. She's making a lot of cold calls and emails just for our neighbors, the folks who have a business or a church or something around our schools. We just want to be neighborly and make a connection and begin that relationship with them. And I can tell you guys, the response from just about everybody that we have met has been overwhelmingly positive. There's not been one community leader, business, organization, church that has not said we will do everything that we can to support our local public schools. So I hope that encourages you as we kind of roll out some of these things, that we have a long list of people who are lining up to be in our schools, participate in some of these community-based programs, and love on our teachers and support our kids. So it's really been a cool thing to see, and Krista has definitely been the right person to do this job. Developing a community engagement plan takes some time, but I wanted to just share kind of like the 3 steps that we're taking right now. Like I said, Krista's spending a lot of time developing relationships and partnerships with our neighbors and our local businesses and organizations. And the next kind of step for that was once Krista started meeting with them and gauging their interest, we had to take their feedback and develop some manageable programs and opportunities for them to get connected with schools. In my first year here, I took a lot of cold calls from businesses, organizations, churches who just said, I would like to volunteer. I would like to be a part of what y'all are doing, but I don't know how. And my answer was like, well, we have a volunteer application that you can fill out, but that's kind of the extent of where we were at. They could submit a flyer to be posted on our website and take to the schools. And so I know that y'all know that that's been a gap that we've been needing to fill for a while. But from my firsthand experience in that, this has definitely been a huge need. And so over the course of last year, brainstorming with the leadership team, Dr. Harkrider, and then being able to bring Krista on has really been a huge asset to develop those opportunities. I'm going to share a couple of those in more detail in just a minute. And then the next step really has been collaborating with our schools to identify the needs that they have so that we can match them with the organizations that we have relationships with. Now, we already have PTOs, we have booster clubs, and we have just really great community leaders and businesses who have just stepped up to the plate on their own volition and just said, hey, that's my neighborhood school, that's where my kid goes, that's where my grandkids go, and they have matched up with those PTOs and booster clubs, and those relationships have flourished and been great. But that example of an organization that reaches out that doesn't have that connection, that's where we're trying to meet that need. So I want to talk a little bit about the Adopt a School program. The purpose of this really is just to connect a local business or organization to a school. We've found that while we have a lot of willingness from our local community, they need some direction. And this is one way that we can provide them with that direction and say, we think you could match up with this school because of the purpose of your business or organization aligns with the culture and the vision of this campus. And so that's really what we've started to do as we've developed these relationships. And really the goal is to have a school adopted by at least one community partner, but it's not limited to just one because I can tell you both, for example, both of our comprehensive high schools, again, there are people lining up to adopt those schools because they're like, I don't have kids there, but I'm the church right next door, or I'm the business that has, brought them coffee for teacher appreciation or something, and I just want to be more invested. So we're more than willing to allow a church, a local business, a nonprofit to be a part of that. And then really it's anybody in the local Bryan College Station area, a business, a nonprofit, a faith-based organization, a community organization. Our first two schools that were kind of officially and publicly adopted were College Hills. They were recently adopted by A&M United Methodist Church. And I say recently, I mean recently we took this picture and gave them those plaques because A&M United Methodist Church has been involved with College Hills for some time, bringing coffee trucks to the school, supporting their initiatives and their events. They've been great partners already, and we just wanted to celebrate that and share that with our community that they have that partnership going on. And then a newer partnership at Creekview Elementary with Salt City Church. Salt City actually meets in Creekview, and their pastor, Brandon Sweeney, is a former teacher and just wanted to give back to the campus where they're meeting on Sundays. And so they've volunteered at Field Day. They are volunteering as Gator Buddies, sitting in the lunchroom while staff can take a break during the lunchtime. And so that relationship has been great for Creekview Elementary. And I'll say with both of those examples, the district is not telling those organizations or the schools what this relationship should look like. We're not telling them there's a level of commitment that's required. We're just providing them with that connection because a principal has to be a principal and a teacher has to be a teacher. And a lot of times we have businesses that are lining up at the door wanting to meet with the principal, but they've got to run their campus. And so that's why Krista's position has been such a big asset. So it's that she can take the time to connect those campuses to the schools. The businesses to the schools. Really, I've kind of already talked about these benefits, but for the community, the Adopt a School program is really just providing them with a connection, enriching our community. When we've got strong public schools, our community is strong and vice versa. And so it's also providing that need for some of our organizations, like at Texas A&M. They've got lots of student organizations that want to be in our schools for their volunteer hours. Well, we've got to provide them with that opportunity and connect them with a school that has those opportunities. And so that's what the purpose of this is as well. And then for the schools, we're really just the more responsible adults, the more business leaders, the more people that we can put in front of these kids as examples and role models, the better our learning outcomes are going to be. It makes them feel more connected to their community. they can create memories with through a lot of these partnerships. And so we're really happy that we already have a couple. We've got one slated at College Station High School early in December, and so we're super excited about that. Now, so when we connect these schools, we do want to encourage them to be involved and donate coffee and cookies and treats to the teachers, but we also want them to shed some light on some of the expertise they may have as a business leader, or just be a caring and good listener and supportive role model for a kid. And so we want to dig a little deeper into what that could look like. And we talked to a handful of school districts about what a mentor program could look like in a public school district. There's lots of great examples out there. Krista and I have talked to many of them and visited mentor trainings and talked to mentors in other school districts. It's been great. Some of our schools have initiated their own mentor programs that have come and gone, or some of them are mentor kids with their staff. And so we already know that there's kind of a need here in College Station ISD for a program like this, but I'm just going to kind of run you through what this may look like and what we're thinking about doing here in the next semester with a potential mentor program here in CSISD. So a mentor really is just going to be a volunteer who is going to donate their time, about 30 minutes a week, 30 minutes every other week, to come and meet with a student at lunchtime. And they're going to really just be a listener, make sure that they are supporting the parents and the guardians' goals for that student in their academic journey, and really just be a supporter and build a relationship with a student. Now, there's a lot of research on why mentoring is beneficial to students. It can help with behavior, attendance, career outcomes, participation in extracurricular activities. But really, again, we're trying to get our community in the door so that we can provide students with a variety of different opportunities to learn and grow. And so how is this going to work? So the mentor program is going to be initiated here at the district office with Krista. So she is going to be the coordinator that identifies those volunteers who have been background checked through our volunteer application. And we're going to just gauge the interest of those volunteers. When we have enough interest from volunteers, we're going to bring them in for a 1-hour training that's modeled after Cy-Fair ISD's mentor program. They've been doing it for about a decade, and we went and visited their mentor training and talked to some of their mentors and administrators that manage this. And we've also connected with school personnel down there about how they manage mentors at the campus level, and received a lot of resources from them. So it's been a big help. But really, that relationship with the mentor is going to start here at central office. Once they get background checked and clear that, and then do a 1-hour training where we're really just telling them kind of the do's and don'ts of interacting with a student every other week, giving them ideas on games that they could play with the student, or worksheets that they could do together, or just how to talk to a 5th grader about what their life is like and the things that they like about school and what they don't. It's really just going to be a time for them to hear what our vision is for them to be in our schools. And then we're going to identify what we're calling a mentor liaison. This is a campus employee. We're not defining who this is for the campus, but at the 3 campuses that we are looking to pilot this at, it's been the school counselor. And those school counselors, because of their relationship with the students, they're a great resource to identify who those kids are, and they're already kind of naturally doing that. So that mentor liaison is really just the connection between the mentor and the mentee's parents or guardians. Because a part of that training is going to include things like, you're not going to have a student's cell phone number, you're not going to follow them on social media, but you're going to have a mentor liaison that can help communicate from the mentor and the mentor's parents and back and forth. So that's a pivotal role, and we have got 3 really great counselors around the district who are going to help pilot this at their campuses. And then again, the parents and the guardians are huge in this. This is voluntary. So if a counselor identifies a kid that says, hey, this kid could really benefit from a mentor, they're really interested in science, and we've got a business over here that works in that field, and they're going to bring in some of their employees, and it would be a great mentorship opportunity. If that parent says, I would rather not, no harm, no foul. They have to give permission. Same thing with the student. If the student is identified as potentially needing a mentor or could benefit from from something like that, and the parent says, I think that's a good idea, but the student is unwilling to do it, that's okay. We're not forcing them. This is a voluntary program that we're looking to roll out. And really, the parents and the guardians are going to help us identify how to match a mentor to a mentee as well, providing them with some opportunity to share about their student, the things that they like, the academic outcomes they're looking for, that kind of thing. And then the mentees, again, I shared with you that this is a voluntary program. They're going to meet twice a month and kind of work towards those mutually established goals. And then really they're going to coordinate between the parents and the mentor liaison to make sure that those mentor sessions are set up accordingly. So we've identified 3 campuses, and these three campuses have really been identified because of the interest of some of our local community organizations and just location. So College Hills, obviously, it's already been adopted by a church and has some other partnerships that are kind of lined up to go. They're interested. Oakwood Intermediate and A&M Consolidated High School. Consol already has a staff mentor program, but they have more mentees than they have staff members. So this has been a good opportunity for us to kind of slide in there, say we'll fill the gap for you with some community members. Kind of talked about that mentor process, but the rollout for this pilot program, we're going to start kind of mid-January, end of January, get all those volunteers, background check, do the training. Krista and myself will be doing regular check-ins with these school counselors to see how the program is going, to get feedback from them. And then what we're going to do is get those 3 counselors in those schools to give us feedback and then help train the rest of the district on how this mentor program can work at their campus if they would want to roll it out. And so that's kind of where we're at with community engagement thus far. We appreciate your trust in working towards that goal of engaging our community a little more. Is there any questions?
Just so excited, and you've heard me say this, and so excited about what you've been doing, and so excited about what Krista's been doing. I mean, so much since she's been here since August, and obviously 3 years ago now with the strategic plan, we put that on there, and it's, I mean, I know there's a whole lot of other things been happening, but to be able to see this much movement on that goal in just a few months, it's just fantastic. And like you said, people are out there, I mean, because I've heard them for years, wanting to be able and to find the right ways to come in and support our schools, you know, because they do support them, but they want to actually physically be a part. And so I just think everything that y'all are doing is fantastic. And I mean, and that's certainly getting the people involved to help, but also us communicating more. The newsletter I think is fantastic as well. So I have all good things to say about that, about everything y'all are doing. Cool. And the only other thing is, the other thing on that goal is with the higher ed linkage. And I know some things are, in those relationships, I know some things are happening there as well. So, I mean, that may be for another discussion or.
Yeah, we'll have multiple
as well.
partnerships that we will be able to announce with A&M here in the coming months.
It's neat because I worked on that specific goal on the strategic plan, and like I could sit here and say, oh, we had some visions of what that might look like, but y'all have blown it out of the water. So appreciate the hard work on that, because I think the mentor program is going to be awesome. I think the adoptive school's taken off. It's just neat to see the community. We know we live in a great community, and now we're utilizing those relationships going forward. So I appreciate all y'all's work. Anything else? Appreciate it, Mr. Dunson. That'll bring us to item E, adjourn.